start, there is no public session, so welcome to the Environment Committee meeting. And we'll start with apology for absence. So we have two apologies that I'm aware of. Councillor Roger Newell for reason number 3. Accept. I propose to accept. Okay. Yeah, it's approval. It's I think everyone has to approve as well. No, well, you have to rather than it's approve the absence rather than it's just the right thing. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, apologies. Sorry. So we are now voting to approve the reasons for absence from Councillor Roger Newell. John, thank you. And that's already voted. Okay, and we also have apologies from Anya and her reason number 5.
Propose we accept or authorize or approve reason number 5 for Councillor Schaefer.
Okay.
John.
John. Yes, I seconded that. So now we need to vote on the approval of the reasons for the absence. John.
You seconded it. That was your first hand up, and now you're voting for. But yeah.
Okay.
You had like new boy, isn't he? It's the hat. It's constricted.
Okay. So let me move on to declarations of interest. I have a personal interest in the Railway Walk route, which comes up on the agenda later, but not a judicial interest. Does anyone else have any declarations of interest? You? Thank you. Then we move on to the minutes of the last meeting on the 8th of June. And again, we will need to approve the minutes of the last Environment Committee meeting. Sorry, agree. Agree. Okay, we need to agree.
I'll second agree them.
Okay, so that was planned, proposing, Lisa seconding, and do we now all vote that to agree the minutes of the last meeting? That's unanimous. Now we move on to the budget. So if you turn to Appendix A, and we'll sort of slowly go through page by page and see if anybody has any comments or questions on these. So page 3 to start with, page 4.
If this through reliability means that all the roundabouts are now occupied or not, you've got a 0% in there.
Roundabout number 6.
Yeah.
Aldi roundabout signs being designed. It says on the comments bit of that. So
Yeah,
I think that must still be ongoing.
yeah.
It's just been sorted out.
Okay.
Thank you.
So all the others are. John.
Yeah, also on page 4, down at the bottom, Lace Hill repair and maintenance. It's fairly early in the year, and we've already spent 80% of the budget.
I'm not finding Lace Hill.
4161 up to the bottom.
Page 4, okay.
Yeah, so there's been a few different things going on with the heating system. It had to be turned off at one point as well. So luckily it was during the heat wave, so it didn't matter. But we found out what the problem with that was, and we've also replaced a lot of the lighting. So on the outside of the building, we've replaced it with lower energy, better quality lighting, so that the CCTV and things like that will work better.
Okay.
So there's been quite a lot going on. And yeah, some of the lights and repairing in the manhole and that sort of stuff. So,
Okay, thanks.
so yeah, I'm aware of where we're at. Sort of.
Thank you. Lisa,
Thank you. At the top, the alarm 4055 is at 94.6%.
this is the alarm at the depot.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that we would have paid the year's invoice, there would have been the year's maintenance invoice on the CCTV there, so.
okay, all right, thank you,
All of it for the year.
fabulous, thank you.
Thank you. So we move on to page 5. And page 6. And then.
John.
Sorry,
Sorry, John.
yeah, chamber, again, 85% of the budget's been spent.
This is the community centre expenditure, the chamber costs. This,
Do we know what that is?
why so much of that has been paid already?
Apologies, not off the top of my head, I'll have to look it up.
The structural repairs of that we need to do when we have the car park shut down and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's the chamber one, I think it's the line below that, the 4091, which we don't seem to have an answer to. So do we?
Okay.
If there's no answer, just email us around.
Yeah,
Thank
We'll
yeah, I think
find out later.
Yeah.
yeah,
Robin?
Yeah, 4085, we had in the previous fiscal year, we had a lot of expenditure in the community centre. Is there any way of quantifying what we are spending against what we are likely to spend? I know it says in there the percentage, but we had reports about the floor and different work and the leaks and everything. At some point, would it be possible to send a note round the total, what we spent and what we might be spending on the community centre, because
On the structural.
yeah, because there's no way of, we've discussed it in different meetings, but we've never seen it as
as a report then.
yeah, well, it could either be through the chair and officers how they wish to do it, really, whether it's a future report or whether it's it could be a note to us to discuss a report closer to when we set the precept, really. I'm happy with a report, but it might be something we can do easier, and then if we need a report, if we're going to have to budget the next year, it'll give us an idea what we're spending, likely to spend, and whatever on the community centre, because reminded of the fact we don't get the income.
This is, John, this is.
Yeah, but that's a proposal from Rob, and I'll second it, that we should have a report on this, so I think it's worthwhile making a report, put it up the building.
So
It is our building.
we have a proposal and a seconder to have the report on expenditure on structural repairs to the community centre and how that compares with expectations. Okay,
Got a first and a second.
yeah, we need a vote.
I'd like that to be expanded a bit, really, so it's not just on like how much we've spent in the last, say, 2 years or 5 years of specified time, and what is also planned for future expenditure on it.
Happy with that.
Because
Sounds logical.
Yeah.
so we've got a picture of where we are with it, rather than
Expenditure.
well, we have no income from it, so that's
If that's an amendment, I'm happy to accept that.
Okay, so.
so 5 years.
5 years,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a really good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Okay, so next 5 years.
No, it's previous 5 years,
Previous
5 years, and
No, but just for what we might spend in the next fiscal year and the previous 5 years,
Yeah.
because that takes us through the whole council before.
Okay, so we have an amendment proposed to that.
Which we've accepted,
Yeah.
therefore it doesn't need to be.
That's a new one then, it's off for test.
So-
You've got a first and a second, but you haven't as a table voted.
no, because I've just proposed an amendment to it, so
So
because it's been accepted, that now becomes the substantive motion, so now we can vote.
Okay, so now we can vote on a proposal to request a report which will include expenditure over the last 5 years and plans for the coming year
For the next meeting.
for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so all in favour? Unanimous.
Just as a question, do we ever do a quinquennial inspection of the whole building? Like a 5-year review of the building itself, see what it's like, see how it's working?
Not that I'm aware of.
It's not that we're aware of.
Not,
I mean, I think that should be standard practice.
I'm not sure that it's within the tenancy agreement.
Oh,
either.
that's not.
it would depend on our.
Yeah, it's our building, we ought to be keeping on top of it. Just a thought, maybe just.
Well, let's.
Let's
Yeah,
see what this comes back with, and then we can look at it
Okay.
in a more
Yeah. Once.
knowledgeable way, can't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think through the chair, I think we'll make a much better judgment about where we need to do that when we get the other information.
True.
I think that's what I
Yeah,
was saying.
right, that's it. That's fine.
I'll give you
That's
that.
that's good.
I'll be Robin's word there.
So that's it. Right, anything else on page 6? If not, we'll move on to the earmarked reserves, page 7. And then that's the. Oh, right.
Rightfully so, we've got 333 play area replacement. It says nil spent. Is that because we are in a position where we haven't got any expenditure to go on, or is there work that you're looking at, Lee, in the future that we will need to actually consider using that earmark reserve?
There's nothing planned, it is sort of building up a reserve for when we need it.
That's what I thought.
Also looking at the play areas, for when they will need replacement and make plans when we need it.
Okay. Fran?
That's the idea of an earmarked reserve, isn't it? And it would have to come to either committee or full council to actually then go in and dig in and spend those earmarked reserves. Which is why none of those have got any expenditure on them, because it is, as Lee says, like building up that pot for future future needs.
Thank you. Robin?
Yeah, thank you. Going back to similar lines and 343 Bowls Pavilion repairs. Now I'm conscious of how many years we've had the Bowls Pavilion. It's a very, very long time, probably 2002, 3, 4, 5. When the new building was put in, was part of the agreement when we took over the actual premises. That's a long time ago, and that structure's been there, whatever, and we've been fortunate that, to the best of my knowledge, we've never had real calls on our money, but buildings age, don't they, as we've experienced with other properties. Would it be prudent to assess that building in advance of the preset meeting in case we suddenly are going to have some expenditure? I know we have a good relationship with the Bowls Club. It's one of the really good relationships we've got, but the building is ours, and you know, if you ask for anything wrong with it, they're going to tell you there's something wrong with it. But whether we should quietly just observe, you know, things like gutters where the roof is as it is, building structure as it is. I think they look after that property really very well. We came to an agreement with them some years ago where we no longer maintain the green, they do it themselves, and that's worked out really well. But the building is ours, and we had flooded underneath it 2 or 3 times since then.
Right.
And I know that they diligently looked at it when we have the electrics, and he's in and out of there because the wiring in Chandos Park was somewhat interesting. I just wondered whether it's something that at some point we need to.
Robin said before the preset is set to assess the likely future costs.
Yeah, so that we don't get a bill that we can't afford.
Community centre, isn't it?
Yeah.
John, are you commenting on that?
Yeah, on page 5, there is of course 606 Bowls Club maintenance, of which we spent currently 75 percent of that budget that we set last year. So I'm presuming we are already spending some money on maintenance of the building, but yeah,
And I'm just thinking that always better to discuss it, maybe not this year, next year, we may have to do a sinking fund. The way that you can do things is you precept for a sinking fund a little bit this year, a little bit next year, knowing that in year 4 or 5, you're gonna have to spend some money.
So it sounds like that's what we're doing with the play areas and.
Yes, it's just that we haven't really discussed that building in a very long time.
Did you have any thoughts on the pavilion?
So, yeah, I mean, this year, for example, we treated the deck on the outside, so the council are responsible for the structure and the externals of the building. So the guys treated all the woodwork on the outside, carried out some other maintenance. But we've also got other EMR for that, which covers all the buildings, which is the 355 building repair, where we do put a bit of money aside every year for something that comes up. There was a few the other issues with it, with the roof that we repaired last year. The other bits and pieces, but nothing alarming at the moment.
So do you think it would be helpful to kind of have a good look at the building before?
It's something I'm always keeping an eye on. Yeah, the electrics and fire alarm need looking at in the near future, but nothing immediate.
Through the chair, I'm just thinking that if we know we can preset a small amount for a few years, and then it won't be a huge bit on the preset, but when we have to spend the money.
Yeah, but I don't know, it sounds to me like Lee may have a fairly good idea.
Yeah, I know.
What needs to be
We haven't
done.
discussed it.
I'm not hearing a great demand for inspection.
I think it's fair to say that we do precept for it. We have these 2 reserves that we've got in place, and they will continue to be there, and they will build in each precept. They are covered in each of those 2 numbers that we've identified. One is specifically the bowls area, and then the general buildings thing. So we do have a precept for that, and that will continue to be allocated as we do our precept.
You're not happy with on that.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments on earmark reserves on page 7? No, okay, thank you. Then we move on to the next agenda item, which is on shop mobility.
So there's a couple of reports. The first one is just an in-depth detail. You all received a notification about the 2 scooters we had, but I thought it would be important that we made note that we had one donated, and how it's come through, and the impact that's had on our financials and what that's meant. I'll happily go through it in detail, but essentially we now have 2 much better quality scooters. They are the bigger ones, that they have a higher weight specification. They're more accessible sort of around our parks and greens and things like that. I've actually test rode both of them, and they're both great, to be fair. So that's just the details of how we received them and how they arrived, and the cost to us.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank Zoe for putting together a report, for doing the negotiations. Can we write to SJ Mobility and also the family which donated the other scooter to thank them, please?
I will say I don't have the family's address, but SJ Mobility may give it to me because they collected it from them.
Yeah.
So if I can, I will. If I can't, I've got a phone number, and I can make contact with him.
Thank you.
We need to vote on that, or is that just a please can you do it? That's great. Robin.
Yeah, thank you for the report. One of the things I have noticed we have been doing is promoting shop mobility. One of the things which I remember when I think it was John who opened the toilets many years ago, after our long journey to actually get them, was the fact that we've got that fantastic facility for people to come and go into, be changed with an adult or child who can't. There's no other that I know of locally. Maybe that's something we should, the destination thing for people with disabilities. It's invaluable, and perhaps we don't sing about it enough. Because people always, they don't know where something is, they can't plan there. They can plan to come to somewhere or be near somewhere if they know they've got a changing facility. It's just something that perhaps we could look at promoting a bit more, definitely, because it's such a good thing.
But I think it was Lucy and then Lucy.
Just kind of piggybacking off Robin's comment, potentially could we propose that of the agenda item notifying us about the new scooters, that we could maybe do a press release about the new scooters and also the disabled facilities at the toilet as a, you know, promoting Buckingham as a disability friendly.
So there has recently been something in the newsletter, and there is, I think it was the last one of one, there has been one this year where there's been a whole thing on the newsletter, and it is something we are constantly plugging. We've had banners done, so it is an ongoing campaign where we sort of touch on it and then we go away and then we touch on it again. I will say, as someone who covers shopability quite often, we are getting new users through all the time.
That's brilliant.
And there have been days where I haven't had a scooter to lend out because they've all been out and people have had to come back in an hour. So it's doing all right, actually. It's doing all right.
Thank you.
Just to say, as somebody with mobility issues, I tend to research the area that I'm going to see where's their parking, where's the toilets, is there public toilets, and also if there is somewhere to hire a scooter if I don't have mine. So that is, and I know it's on our website and stuff, so it's quite well promoted, but I do like the idea of a press release. I like that because it's nice to know that a local business has helped us out. Let's show mobility.
Robin,
Yeah, I mean, if it was to be mindful to, because we've got the summer holidays now, and if you've got a disabled child or disabled adult, you may not know where to go out and where to go. But if you know that when you come to Buckingham, you've got that facility, I know that when we put it in the disability, is it Bucks disability, we're very pleased that we had one. I just think that as long as we include that, because it's I have no way of quantifying how many families use it or groups use it.
We keep records, so they are there in shopability. I just need to be clear that we don't have a scooter or a wheelchair that facilitates children. They're all adults.
No, I'm about the change in facilities.
Okay.
If it includes that, because if you're going out for the day, and
It's important.
it's very important that you know where you can go. If you visit, it's having somewhere to change that person. It's so important.
Yeah.
So just so clear, that actually the facilities there isn't an agenda item. So it's pure. This agenda item is purely about the scooters and the new scooters that we've got coming in.
I just tried to shoehorn it in.
I thought it might go away, but it didn't.
okay, so in which case it would have to be brought to a new meeting.
After the summer, when we know the need for it, then do that. So that's great.
Yeah, I mean, yes,
We can do it on social media, can't we?
yeah. No, that's good. What, John?
Just say, we are on the Changing Places website. It does come up, but also the ones in Brackley, Toaster,
Thanks, John.
MK, Bletchley Park, Odeon, actually enough, and Little Kids and Child with Belly Motor Services.
Thank
So
you.
there are quite a few around here, but obviously when I said New Buckingham, ours came up.
Well, that's good.
Okay,
That's good.
I think we should move on.
Reassures me a bit.
No,
So again, so we're still on shop mobility. So obviously in light of the new equipment we've had, there's a new registration hire form which just indicates the specification of the two new scooters to be agreed. And for those who have been coming to these meetings for a little while, you're probably aware that we've had some damage to scooters in the past, and we've had sort of frequent flyers, if I can use that as a term, with regards to damaging of equipment. So in the new terms and conditions, much of it stays the same, but I've made them easier to read by bullet pointing them. And I did some research on other shop mobilities, both local and afar, about how they might do it. And we've reserved the right to recover up to 50% of the cost of any repairs. So it's a reserve right, it's not a given or whatever. And we did discuss the inclusion of the 3 strikes possibility if someone repeatedly damages our equipment. So that's now, if agreed today, that will be included in our terms and conditions moving forward. And I will ask all of our existing hires to re-sign terms and conditions and contracts, because obviously the specification for the scooters have changed as well.
Yeah.
Lucy,
Can I propose that we accept the recommendation and approve the updates?
Yeah. I second it.
yeah, can I just ask a question first?
Of course.
I noted the thing about 3 strikes, but then I couldn't see anything about it in the terms of.
It is, I just saw it.
Because you've only got the registration hire form.
Okay.
So,
it is in there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, sorry about that. Fine.
I was going to second the
Right.
proposal because I had my hand up.
There's no big deal, as long as it goes through.
Yeah. In that case, Lucy is proposing the recommendation, Fran is seconding the recommendation.
Yeah,
And we need to vote on who else is approving the recommendations.
And that's on 5.1 and 5.2.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
And thank you to the office for hard work.
Thank you very much.
Some of these are quite humorous. If I've got a handbag strap over the steering column, I will make sure that it is not touching the controls before switching the scooter on. Obviously, you've had experience of it.
Yeah.
I've had someone go nearly through the doors of Shop Mobility whilst they've been putting their handbag on. Yes. I've also had someone try and shoehorn their collie into the basket, which is why it says passengers and people or pets.
Oh, it's okay, you're out.
Okay, sorry, Robin, was
yeah, just on the same, like, I can remember going to shop in Milton Keynes that had disability things, and my late wife, we got one. And she drove around the shop and then she forgot to stop and drove straight into me. I don't know whether that was
Convenient accident.
What I will say is a point of interest, the old scooters don't have brakes, the 2 new scooters actually have a brake like a bike. So the older scooters, so you kind of drift to a stop.
Just let go, don't
Yeah.
you, stop.
So the people find them easy to
That's safe as well.
Yeah.
It's okay if you've got the finger control, but if you don't, then being able to just let go and have it stop is easier. Some people just can't do the brake bit, yeah. Good.
Okay, let's move on to another one from.
It's me again.
So this one's the banner policy for Lace Hill.
So my usual style, I'll do kind of a summary. So the current policy for Lace Hill banners is £50 a month and £25 for a not-for-profit. Essentially, people aren't able to afford to pay. They're just not. So the likes of some of our long-term hirers who may have a banner out there all the time are saying they can't advertise, they can't afford, they might have it up for a year and that's 600 quid.
Yeah.
They can't afford it. So I've had a look around, bearing in mind we don't charge for banners in the town centre. So I've had a look around, I've spoken to people about affordability and what they're, because we want to support our long-term hirers as well.
Yeah.
And essentially what I've come up with is what is written. So for commercial long-term hirers, i.e. not charitable or non-profit making, they can display a banner for 10 quid a month, charitable and not-for-profit, 5 quid a month. All other businesses and organisations can display for 25 quid a month. We have an existing maximum of 5 banners. I don't see why that needs to change.
Yeah.
And then to qualify as a long-term hirer, so to qualify as a long-term hirer at Lace Hill, you need to book 10 sessions. And I'm just saying that that's the same for this. My belief is that we will go from having no banners to actually having some banners up there and a little bit of income. So that's ultimately my proposal.
Okay, Lucy.
It all sounds very sensible. I mean, there's no point having prices if no one wants to pay them. It's better to get some money than no money. I propose we accept the recommendations in full.
Thank you.
Thank you. John?
I say that.
Right, okay, we have a proposal and a seconder, so now we are asked to approve the recommendation. And that's unanimous.
I didn't vote.
Oh, you didn't vote?
No.
Oh, just nice.
Beg your pardon. So are you?
I was going to ask why it wasn't aligned the same as the town centre banner policy.
Okay, so are you suggesting an amendment?
Well, the town centre banner policy is that commercial organisations aren't allowed to advertise. There's no charge, but it's only for community organisations and not profits.
So this was mirroring the existing policy.
Yeah.
It does allow current hirers to advertise what's going on in Lace Hill, whether they're commercial or otherwise. So it's advertising the use of the centre, so that would then generate income for us.
I was just wanting some clarity. That's the word. Thank you very much. Something in my brain wasn't there to handle that.
Sorry, I'm now a little confused because.
Thank you, what
was your?
It was a question. So yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So does that mean you haven't yet voted, or?
I am abstaining.
You are abstaining.
Yeah.
Okay. So one abstention, the other three approving. Is this a new
No, just
topic?
on, that was, different committee minutes will have to be agreed by committee members. And at that point, if members have any questions about that, when the minutes are agreed, they have the right to question it at that point.
Do you mean the Lace Hill banner policy?
So the town centre events, policy changed the policy agreed with in town centre events the other day, it can be just questioned when it goes through the minutes. Members have the right to question the minutes and discuss it.
Okay.
Which I think with.
But that isn't.
Yeah. No, but it.
No, because we didn't have a discussion about it. So, yeah.
Okay. John.
I think Fran raises an interesting point. Maybe we should put it on the agenda of the next communications strategy group and discuss it there, because the CSG looks after the banner policy in the middle of the cash plans and so on, I think. Does it come under TSA? I think it looks after it.
I think we're in the position where, as we've now voted on something, we can't take another.
No, I know, but we can still say it should be on the agenda.
Just a separate,
That's a separate point. I think it's a valid point what Fran's raised.
That's
I was saying-
a new meeting on the new agenda.
Yeah.
Robin.
Just on that, we revised it was in the terms of reference of the committee on that issue, and this is in the terms of reference of that committee. And think that to change anything to another group would be a reasonable discussion for the future, but it should be as a vote having place tonight and the vote taking place somewhere else. It's a future discussion, not a.
Yeah, and we've now taken a vote on the Lace Hill banners, and if there's a discussion at a later meeting of whatever sort about town centre banners, then that will take its place. Fine.
I'd like to apologise for muddying the waters there, really, and causing further discussions. It was only that I've got a question to ask. We went straight with proposal and seconder without having any discussion on it. We've now voted on it. Let's just move on to the next agenda item. Thank you.
Let us do that. So next we look at a report from the senior administrator, an update on the Railway Walk Conservation Group, and I don't know if Lee might want to say a little bit on this one.
It was really just to follow on the project that you've been doing, setting up the Railway Walk Group, and this is just to put some funds in place to allow things like an insurance, obtaining a metal storage container, which today the university agreed to put it in one of their little areas in the Railway Walk, which is good, and just allow some budget for some basic equipment, wheelbarrows, first aid kits, and that kind of stuff that we need, or you guys would need.
Lisa.
Thank you. Is the metal box either looked, or is it hidden, or just thinking if people went up there and stole tools and stuff?
So it is in there. It is in a secure location.
Okay.
Just over the road on the university land. It's a secure storage shed.
Okay. All right.
This is behind a building, and the university security people are quite.
Perfect. Thanks.
Fran,
I'd like to thank the Railway Walk Conservation Group for revitalising the Railway Walk Conservation Group. I believe that Heather is quite key to that, and propose that we go with all the recommendations on this report.
okay, was Robin's hand was up, didn't
Yeah, just nothing to disagree with what Graham said, just to tell you that as I mentioned it, the member decision on the walk has gone through now, which means they've agreed the actual project on the railway walk, which I don't know whether they communicated that to Lee, but that's gone through. I'll find it and send it on to him. That means that it was a leader's decision of the council, which means that for some reason it hung about and now it's been signed off. So the railway walk project has been signed off. So hopefully over time we'll all be able to discuss at a future date how that project worked out.
Yeah.
Just for information.
Yeah, very welcome, thank you.
That's right.
Lucy.
I'd like to second Councillor Davies' proposal.
Okay, I'm going to abstain on this one just because I have a personal interest, but I would like to, I think, take the recommendations together here and have a vote on whether we are agreeing and approving the recommendations.
So just to be clear for the minutes, that's recommendation of 1.1, 1.2 and 1.3.
Yep, and that is everybody approving apart from me abstaining.
Good work on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Here.
I'd also like to say thank you very much to Anna and Nina and Lee for getting all of this moving as well, particularly the toolbox.
Should we minute our thanks, Chair?
Huge difference. So I think that, and Anna has got, she's sort of doubled the number of Facebook followers on the Railway Walk group in the space of about 2 days. So,
I added 1,000 people.
she's just invited, all her friends and family. I hate to think how many are going to show up on Saturday.
Excellent.
Nice one.
So lovely.
Yeah, Lucy said about minuting our thanks.
To the people you just mentioned.
Would like to really give thanks to all those.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Right, okay, so next we move on to cemeteries and allotments. And I don't know if Lee has anything to say on this one.
Hopefully the report covers it, but we've worked to get the new cemetery handbook up to date and updated. There's quite a bit of other work going on promoting, so finalising how we're going to promote the different burial plot areas. We've got information available for that. And then, as soon as we can schedule in the opening, we're aiming for late September for the opening of the cemetery allotments. We're just waiting on water connection, which at the moment is the 3rd of August. So it'll be well. I just want to get the water connected.
Yeah.
All the other thing, but that's what we're aiming at the moment.
Excellent. Thanks, Lee.
Okay, so I think it was Tony. Robin.
I know it has been asked recently via email, but can we organise a little visit there before it opens? Because some of us would like to see the wildflowers and the meadows that have been described and just get a general picture of what it looks like now. Once the water's done, maybe.
Well, hopefully we'll be in September and we can open it properly at that point.
But I think this was for councillors before.
Yeah, just to have a look
About the nose.
Yeah,
It's
see it as it is.
not going to. Yeah.
I think we've got councillors that have never actually
That's what I'm
officially been up there.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Drove past it many times.
Okay, we don't need to vote on that or anything. It's just a request. Robin.
I thought the report was respectful to members of different communities, and I thought it was reflected modern times and would be in some ways future proofing. Our communities are evolving generations, so I think it's a well thought piece of document. Of course, nothing is forever. It needs to be amended we'll amend it, but I do think that it's clear there was some, I was out and read it this afternoon, I thought that clear that there'd been some conscious thought about it during the report, which was evident in the way it was worded. And I have wandered through there and it's all very it is a big job, and I think that when we get to hope in September do the opening, I just ask that we invite those council members who are
It's
not.
already been done.
It has,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
right.
right, you said it, right.
Yeah, I know, I do enforce it because their efforts were a big part of us getting to where we are today, and they should be noted for that.
Thank you. Right,
I would like to propose that we thank Lee and all the Green Spaces team for everything they've done to get to where we are with the report we had, was it on full council report we had of all the trips and hazards and everything else that they've got over to get to the point we're at, which is on the verge of being able to open up both the cemetery and the allotments. And I propose that we agree all three of the recommendations.
Yeah, happy to second that.
was Robin, were you
Just a
seconding?
question, Lee, happy to lead to the vote. Have we got any concept of how many cemeteries have been opened in Buckinghamshire, or is this the only one which is currently opened in the whole of Buckinghamshire? I bet you'll find it probably is. We were very keen to do something, but I have never heard of another one being opened in like this.
One a few years ago, further south in the county, where it was, because I was looking at it, one of those, it was fine last summer.
There's no consequence, it's just that I can't recall another one.
Right, thank you. So we have Fran proposing and Lisa seconding the three recommendations 1.1, 1.2 and 1.3. So if we could now move to a vote on that, please. Who approves? And that is unanimous.
A minute, thanks, please.
Right.
Just a quick
Sorry.
point of interest. The only other cemetery, council operated cemetery to have opened within the last, since 1965, was Penn Road Cemetery in Hazelmere. All of the other ones predate 1965.
Okay. It is a rare event.
That's why I was
Okay, so moving on to happy to chat benches, where we are receiving the report from the senior administrator and John.
Sorry, have we done all 8, 1, 2 and 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have,
them
okay, right,
covered.
okay.
I'm happy to go through the report if you need me to go through the reports.
Yeah, would you just introduce it and then people may have
So
questions?
you've got two recommendations. So the first one is that members approve the replacement of two happy to chat plaques on the existing benches that exist in Chandos and Riverside Walk. The cost would be a total of £94.40. The alternative is that members approve the installation of two new happy to chat plaques, with the total being £188.80, coming from the same budget. There's a big long explanation as to where the benches are and why we might need them. I'm happy to go through it in detail.
Yeah, but basically the recommendation is one or the other
Yeah.
of these. So either replacing the existing plaques on the existing happy to chat benches, or doing that, but also having two new plaques on two newly assigned benches. I think John was first with this hand up.
Obviously, I support the second one, 1.2. Another two happy chat benches would be fantastic in the locations as suggested in the report. So I would propose 1.2.
Right, well, let's get some more comments before we get to the
Yes, all right.
proposing.
Mark,
But yes, okay, we get, that would be your preference now.
Yeah.
Lucy's next.
Lucy next.
Can I ask why the first one's need replacing? Is it just because the QR code is no longer? Okay, cool. So it's not that they've deteriorated in the last.
Perfect. QR cards are going nowhere now because
Yeah.
the Buckingham Council has moved its website around.
That's fine. Thank you.
Fran,
I'd like to propose that we do a little bit of a hybrid of the two, 1.1 and 1.2. If we can, because of the QR code is on one end of the existing plaques, if we could get made up something which gave the URL, no, the town council's website information page, cut the QR code off the end of it, or covered it up somehow, and then we can buy 2 new ones with the URL on, and then have the URL added to the existing ones in some way.
that would work. I think we'd end up with a kind of bit sticking out that people would be then putting their backs.
Possibly cut themselves on, or rip clothing, or.
Well, they can things can be filed down and smoothed off, can't they?
Yeah. Should we get some more thoughts and then maybe come back to whether there is a hybrid solution? I think Robin was now.
Should I declare interest? I'm always happy to chat.
There's still some people sitting on the bench from the last time.
Put the viewer into it. I'm absolutely easy with either. I think that implicitly, changing, I understand the logic of trying to do something differently, but just at ease of whatever, I'm quite happy to do the new ones because it just they'll all look the same then, and that seems the way I want it. So when they walk around, we'll get a question: why is that this? Why is that that? And it just looks tidy.
Lucy.
In addition, while Councillor Davis knows full well that I love trying to fix things rather than buying new. However, taking into consideration, because I'm sure it would fall down to Lee's team to try and sort out as well, the time it would take to undo them, cut them, and then fit a new bit, I think it would probably pretty much balance out. However, what I would request is that we keep the old ones so that if there is, because they're not going to take up a lot of room, if one of the new ones does fall foul of any kind of vandalism, then at least we have a spare that we can put on as a standby. They don't take up a lot of room.
Yeah, we would have to cover over the QR code.
But that can even just be painted over or something. But that's up to Lee, or we can just.
Okay, Lisa.
I'd like to second John's proposal to go for 1.2.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, so there's some nodding around the table and no other comments, and I think we go to a vote on recommendation 1.2 to approve the installation of 2 flaps and the replacement of 2 existing ones, and that is unanimous. Right, okay,
Chat away.
Can I ask if we can have the air conditioning?
what's this?
It's okay.
Right, okay. Now we move on to a speed indicator device proposal. Fran, did you want to speak to this?
I'm going to speak if Lee has something to say first. To hear from you.
No, we've been approached by the
Yeah.
traffic road action group and there is one.
They have gained quite a large grant from Thames Valley Police in order to do this, and they've been very proactive with setting wheels in motion in order that they can start looking at somewhere where there's a lot of vehicles being damaged. There are a lot of issues. I think Tony could probably speak firsthand better than I can on that. propose that we accept all three recommendations.
I think Robin was next to me.
Yeah, happy to second the recommendation. This is I think to do. Also, you know, the work being done by the people with work, you know, really need to thank them for that work. Also, offers for where we've got to. This area is always and continues to be a challenge with vehicles until such time we get the long-awaited Western bypass built, which it will continue to be so because this council planned in its 2015 plan to have that put in, and we went through some different journeys on that, but that was suggested because of the very reason we got here, which was to try and divert some of the major traffic away from there and try and slow down the traffic in the town centre. But I think that is regrettable, but that was where we are, and these are mitigations where that would have been the solution.
They have done great work. I went to one or two of the meetings initially, then stopped to put my house on the market, and it might have been seen as a bit of a funny thing to, but what I would comment on is the sighting of the camera. From what I can see of the picture, the photo here, it's, I believe, towards Moles, that sort of direction. So incoming traffic, whereas I was actually at a social evening for the houses on that road on Saturday, and we got talking about it, and it was an agreement. All the damage has been caused by traffic coming out of the town in every single case. So perhaps we could have no problem with going ahead with all this, but perhaps we'd approach them again and say, should we also consider perhaps reciting it on the other side of the road? You know, so it's outcoming traffic further up towards Stowe Avenue, maybe, because they get to Stowe Avenue, they speed up and up. I know this because I've had 2 cars written off.
Wow. Much.
I don't know how much influence we would have or being asked.
I mean, I can approach them directly, but I just thought I was going, you know, I want to mention it here.
I think John was next.
Yeah, I mean, presume the sighting is on the recommendation of the group themselves, or is it on the recommendation of the police or us? Who suggested to go there?
This group's proposal. I believe those big speakers, please, highlighted.
It's the police that's funding it as well, so I guess it
Well,
would be in the
they've
proposal for the grant.
given the money, they've given the money to them. So my understanding is that it does have to go through highways approval and police approval for it. However, these things are fixed to a pole. So I can't see that there would be anything to stop them having a second pole put up to move it on occasions to
Because it is
to
moving.
the other side, because I think there's they're battery powered. So
I mean, maybe possible to recommend that we look at, but as I understand this, the highways technician has to approve the specific roadside location straight post. So it's their call, where the posts are and how many posts there are. But I guess there's nothing to stop us from suggesting that they look into it.
So the recommendations are for us to basically agree to adopt the sign and then the sighting of it, etc. will be decided at a later date. So yeah, if we can then write it and say we will agree if we do vote to do so, agree to adopt it as recommended in the first part of it, isn't it? And write to them to suggest that there's consideration put into it being movable to monitor speed on occasions of things going west as well. Yeah.
Okay. Robin.
Yeah, historically, when we first started, sometimes, but now council used to be a little bit more, meaner. I remember we used the members' money, some years ago to fund stuff on the Bourton Road. At the time, if my memory is correct, we were able to allocate 2 sites to move the actual thing. It could be we can get everything done at once by asking them to approve 2 sites when they're approving 1 site. Because then what Tony's saying.
That's what I just proposed.
Well, I can I finish quickly? Thank you. You have said it, but I was explaining what happened in the past. So I don't see anything that actually did it, actually with the county member, and actually asked it to be done. So, if I'm allowed to carry on, I'll say that if agreed, we write to the 3 local members and ask them to support this scheme, and ask them to ask the local technician to do it, because the local members will have that ability to talk about it, and they'll be consulted if we ask for their support. Can't see why the 3 local members wouldn't support it, because they can actually talk directly to the local technician if they have a meeting on a quarterly or monthly basis. And this is something that should actually come up at that meeting to try and get the conversation moving forward. There's so much work gone into it that it would be a shame if it sits on an in-tray waiting for an email back, wouldn't it?
I'm afraid I don't know. I don't understand this process, but I know. I think what we've agreed is that we think they should consider having 2 posts so that we can look the speed in one time. I'm also hearing that people are generally in favour, and we will have a vote in a minute of the 3 proposals that are on here. I guess otherwise it's suggestions for how else we can move it forward.
I hope Councillor Stutchbury won't mind me summarising his point, but were you suggesting an amendment where we would write to the, if this motion is passed, that we agreed to the above points, that we would also, in addition, write to the 3 Buckinghamshire Council members for Buckingham to ask them to, formally from Buckingham Town Council, to ask them to support it through the process and support our recommendation.
Said it very well.
Okay, so first off, we have a vote on really the proposal and a second of the recommendations.
I proposed it with the additional thing that we write to them that they consider a second pole in order to make the camera movable to catch eastbound and westbound traffic.
Okay. Do we already have a second for that?
I second it.
There was a second of that. So
I second it, including what? Yeah.
So we do a vote on that, which is recommendations 1.1, 1.2 and 1.3. So everybody in favour?
Can I just ask one question? Given that I'm a resident in the area, do I abstain or because I've also got an interest in it?
Peculiarly interested.
Okay, just double check. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay, so we're voting on those 3 recommendations.
Yeah.
That's unanimous.
That's your speakers.
Agreement of each of those 2 things. And then there was a second proposal whereby we write to the 3 Buckinghamshire Council members representing Buckingham and ask them to support this application.
I'll second it if Robin's proposed it.
Robin has proposed that, Lucy has seconded that, and so are others in favour?
Yeah.
Okay, all but one.
I'm abstaining because we can't raise a motion like that under our standing orders. I was voting for the previous 3 recommendations on the basis that that point was included, which is what I thought. To make it a separate motion, standing orders doesn't allow us to propose a motion to write to someone, because we've had this debate before, we can't do it. It's not a motion we can raise from the floor.
Okay.
Unless we change our standing orders.
I have to say, I'm just thinking through the exact thing, but
Yeah, if I did say, which
But I didn't accept,
we didn't.
I didn't accept it.
No.
So my
Well, I
substantiation,
support it as a
Yeah.
local member, and I will write to the other local members
Okay.
and ask them to support it, because we're incapable of doing so.
thank you.
We do need to change our standing orders.
Okay.
No,
But I will write to them,
Probably it's gonna take
Yeah.
action. Thank you, Robin.
just been unable to do so, because I standing orders so on.
Sorry.
It's all right, John.
Yeah, well, they are.
Say,
You're absolutely right, there are. Hey,
Okay, let's move on.
thank you for clarifying. Okay, well, if we find this is dragging through the mud, by the time we have another meeting, then somebody might wish at that point to propose to do something, but I will assume it will sail through. Because they've got.
It is what it is.
So little possibility.
Standing orders are what they are.
Okay, thank you. Next we move on to a motion from Tony.
Thank you. I don't know if you're aware that currently there's monitoring situation going on for butterflies across the UK, and that actually started in 1976, so 50 years ago. It's focused on 58 of what they call our native butterflies, and actually it's also focused on our daytime moths as well, which are a very interesting species. There's 3,300 locations at the moment where this is taking place. And in the current activity, which is the middle of July till the 9th of August, so far they've had 90,000 different people responding to it. So it's a substantial survey that's going on. Butterflies are a really good indicator of changes of conditions in the areas that the monitoring is being done. That's climate conditions, hedgerow conditions, flower conditions, fauna conditions, and so on. But they can also help you decide what you actually plant as well. So what I'm proposing is for next year, because it's too late to start this year, is that we actually do one locally as well. What you would have to do, just to put some meat in the bones, you would have to, it's over a 5-year period, but the first year can give you some good results that you can act on. But you'd have to go down the same tract, so the same route each time, and you monitor what time of day it was, what the conditions were, and so on, and what you've seen. You look 5 meters either side, and then you record what you've seen. You put that onto the app, but equally what we were doing at Stowe, when I was involved there, we were actually doing a paper record as well. And that record is good for us as a town council to see what is happening and what isn't happening, and then comparing it against national figures. So we would be able to perhaps look at, so if I was proposing the railway walk as one area, if I was proposing areas of Bourton Park as an area, and to be honest with you, the cemetery in Brackley Road is a fantastic place for wildlife. Which was proposing that as an area that we could get local people involved in doing these surveys. That then could lead on to dragonfly and damselfly surveys, and even from there you could lead on to bird surveys by using the Merlin app, and people just reporting what they've heard and seen, and obviously encouraging people to go for walks on certain routes as well. So there's a health and well-being to it as well. So I'm proposing that we look at setting that up to the spring, summer of next year.
Well, Tony, right, John.
Well, obviously, I'll second that. It's a great idea. We do have an EMR 2,000 quid for such a survey on the list earlier on we looked at this evening. It's a great idea. I also know, I think I've heard about a survey where you count them with dead bugs on your number.
Yeah, you can do that.
Because obviously it's a standard size.
Yeah.
And people drive all over the shop and count the number of bugs. That's a good way of assessing the number of bugs there are in the atmosphere.
Yeah, there are protocols.
Or how many less there are.
The time.
Or how many less there are,
and all
right.
sorts of things. I believe that the budget that's in the EMR is for a specialist ecologist to do biodiversity survey, which isn't quite the sort of things. There's some I think the two would have to be planned together.
Yeah.
And that would be something that the council could advise on. You know, there may be areas where it requires something a bit more in depth and others which are just ideal for public activity. I've lost track now. I think Lucy.
Lucy, no, because I've forgotten what I was going to say.
Just two things. One, I know that previously the Railway Conservation Group used to do biodiversity studies, like you said, where they'd mark out a square and kind of count the number of different insects, and they'd have a sheet of, well, a few sheets of paper with kind of pictures of commonly found insects, butterflies within that area. So it could be something that through your guidance we could do as part of that, as well as obviously using other volunteers and everything else. And also just in the same vein, that I had an update from a friend of Buckingham, Michael Hunt, that he's been doing all of the Freeman.
Is it Freeman?
No,
It's a friend, sorry,
yeah.
sorry, he is a friend, yeah. Sorry.
So he's done over 19
Got my
surveys, of birds and green spaces, which is a pilot survey for the for 2026 that the British Trust for Ornithology have set up, and he's now covered all of Buckingham's green spaces. And for an example, the railway walk visit had 18 species with 202 birds logged in one visit, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I saw him mention his boats around in around parts. There's also two ladies flowering the range.
Yes.
A butterfly conservation group, I think, that do a regular walk down the railway and some other areas. And I was talking to Claire the other day, and she said she'd seen the most butterflies this year.
Yes,
she
I have.
This has been a really good year. Butterflies.
Currently, big influx of painted ladies just about to come over. So look out for those, but be careful how you Google that. Make sure you put what butterfly out there. And also, can I just suggest that we start with the butterfly, have some moths, and then move on to other things as we gain experience. But use these people that are already doing it as well.
You raise a very good point, because they are migratory butterfly, and they fly from one area, they're like our monarch butterfly, they fly from one area through to another area. I mean, I remember many years ago where we had the farm full of painted ladies, butterflies one summer, and that was very much weather like this, where they'd made their way to us because of the warm weather, and they get up in the current. So it won't be an every year. Well, it may be after last Friday, but they're just like monarchs for Europe, and they lay their eggs here, which means that I think they do the return journey at a point, don't they? If I'm correct.
Yeah.
It's not the same butterfly that goes back. It's they lay their eggs here, and then another butterfly flies away.
Yeah.
They're from the same family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instinctive.
Yeah, instinctive, which is crazy.
I guess those are things that need to be taken into account when deciding when in the year and how frequently these things are done, because at certain times of year those migrants might not be here.
July to
and
middle
other
August
times
is
they
the
might
time.
larvae rather than butterflies. But going back to the motion, and I think Tony proposed and John seconded. So if we go to a vote on that motion, please. That's it. Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to seeing these monarchs.
Okay, great. So we now move on to the action report. So that's the log on the last page of your papers. Oh, sorry, I didn't see whether John was right. Okay, John.
Right, just an update on the seating strategy. As Heather knows, we have both been out lots and been logging and rewording a little bit, although I begin to think that's maybe too much, but anyway, so we've divvied out the roads coming into the town centre. We've been looking at how many benches there are and how many benches there could be. It's a surprising number. The Tingewood Road has no benches on it. It's a very long road. There are no park benches on the road at all. And there aren't that many on the London Road. There's only a couple on the Bourton Road. These are the ones I've been looking at, I'm sure.
Similar story.
Similar story, yeah. So what we're trying to do is come back with a map of where the benches are right now, where we think benches could be placed. It ends up being quite a few. Let me just give you a bit of a headline on that. It's not going to be a couple more. It's going to be approaching at least 24 or more benches, and they're not cheap, as you know. So sources of funding I have to think about that. But our plan is to bring a report back to the next meeting in October. So we have the summer to work on this. And the meeting next meeting is 12th October. So we will on the agenda. But we will get it together by the end of September, so we can get it on the agenda, obviously. So we are beavering away at that. I've got lots of steps and lots of photographs of park benches. If someone nicked my phone now, they won't a lot. Why is this guy just photographing a hedge? Or indeed a park bench? But that's what we do. So there we go. That's an update on whatever that item number 3 is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
I don't know, it might have been already resolved in a previous meeting that I wasn't able to attend. But I noticed that there's nothing about the adoption of green spaces on St Rumble's Fields on there, or how we're getting on with the snagging list. And I'm sure, well, that it's not on there, and I'm sure it was used to be on there.
Been on there for ages, isn't it?
Okay,
See, that's an area close to my heart.
it's definitely environment.
Yeah.
Not
Oh, yeah.
climate.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have all that on you?
Yeah, sure, well, it's not there, but. Yeah, the fourth snowy list has been given to the developers. So just possibly place it.
There's, and I don't know, I forgot to email into the office, they're doing Encore are doing a meeting with the residents at the rugby club on Wednesday evening, where they will apparently be discussing the snagging and who's responsible for what green spaces. So I don't know if it'd be worth anyone attending to make sure that they are being not being creative with the truth about who's responsible for what and that kind of thing.
Okay, so we may want to bring that back on the table next time round if it isn't, not be dropped off for some reason. Thank you. You think, right?
I verbally was given a compliment, and I know that the town centre baskets actually come under town centre and events committee. However, since the last town centre and events committee meeting, I was complimented very highly, and I said I would pass it on to our green spaces team, who do the maintenance on our baskets and planters in the town centre. They were very, very pleased to see them and very complimentary about how good they look.
Yeah.
Robin.
Yeah, I'm just pleased that they're looking out for the benches. I think one of the things that they do is make it possible for people to leave their house, go back to their house, and I'm sure what in the consideration is the distance. I know my mother had got a bench on her route home. Without that bench, she wouldn't be able to go out because she sits on that bench and has a rest and then goes on to the rest of their journey. So it just actually gets people out of there. And talking bit on them is beneficial, but inclines key. We did get asked, I'm sure they've looked at this, about when the railway work project's gone in, is where the benches aren't now, where the new benches will go. Because we were written to some time back about an additional bench. I think it was at the far end of it where there isn't a bench, you know, if you're coming from the walk from the London Road, there isn't a bench at that end. And people said I'd like to have one because I could rest there and then I could go down to the other bit. So I think, and as for the points that have come through the future report, we have had in the past people who wanted to donate a bench for their family member. We've got one in Chandos Park, no, not Chandos Park, Bourton Park, which was donated by family. And because it's a place that they really love to go as a family, there may be some scope in the future. Care consideration. Might want to donate a bit, but not the location,
Love the idea.
you know, and that
No,
would,
we certainly. do that.
you know, that would actually mean that
Yeah.
you can move quicker. You can move quicker, because people do want to do things like that. And in many ways, it's better than many of the things you can do when you lose somebody.
Yeah.
And and I know that bench, particularly the family go there and they sit on that bench. At the appropriate time of year as a family, and Mark, and we went through it in great detail at the time. But they do have other benefits, people that you don't see.
Just wanted to know that there's a thing here about the Christmas tree hole, like I say, that was completed this week. So that
Excellent.
can come off the action thing, and they were there 22nd to the 25th of June.
Don't you complete a whole.
Who's to know? It took 6 more.
What do they completely know and a whole completely know?
Oh, Christmas tree, you say, that's the way.
Okay, anything else on the action going? News releases.
There's any.
I'm not aware of any news releases. I don't have any, well, actually, yeah, I would just like to say, I hope you enjoyed the fringe events, which is environmental themed. It's obviously anything, some comes under a different committee, but I thought it was, the ones I went to were really good. I saw a lot of people and a lot of children around town with stuffed animals and things and things.
And that's been going on for another couple of weeks, so if there's anyone who has contacts with our younger members, still going on. We have had to replace the unicorn.
Somebody's a proud owner of a Pilford unicorn.
Yeah.
All our mythical creatures. So
What are you trying to say?
No.
well, allegedly, so it may have gone back.
Right,
Fake news.
Right. So, the date of the next meeting is Monday, the 12th of October, as John rightly says.